Skybird, this is Dropkick with a Red Dash Alpha message in 2 parts. Break. Red Dash Alpha.
Stand by to
Red
copy
Dash
message.
Alpha.
Standing by.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
We're literally a not safe for work podcast on a safe for work podcast.
I think the moral of the story is tic-tac-toe sucks, and everybody knows that. And
nerd irritation.
Everyone got their degree from DeVry over there.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The greater good.
I know.
There it is.
I had to repeat it. Come on.
I was waiting for it. That was great.
Greater good.
That awkward silence was brought to you by Andrew's phone.
yeah, sorry about that. It took a minute to load for some reason.
That was great. Oh my gosh. This is episode 355. And tonight we're talking about Wargames, the 1983 epic Wargames. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew, wishes he could retire to an island with its own ferry Jemison.
And helicopter, apparently.
Yeah, that you use to chase and harass children.
Yeah. And I know Sam's not with us again tonight.
Yep, no Sam tonight.
But if Sam were with us, I was going to say he would drop you off on an island with a demented old man and just let nukes go off around you. So there you go.
Sounds actually pretty much right. And joining us, making their Cheap Seat Reviews debut, this middle name's going to be kind of weird, so just bear with me. Karina, that is a big-ass door, and Brian has to aim a gun at Karina to get her to podcast from the Two Dude Review podcast.
I think that's accurate.
It's not actually that far from it. Yeah.
By the way, I want to be on that island that harasses children with a helicopter. How have I not been invited to that island?
And apparently a remote-controlled pterodactyl. Yeah.
That's what it's called. It's the Fire Festival.
Oh, sure. The Fire Festival. Yeah.
You get a slice of cheese and a piece of bread, and you get to shoot all the children.
Yeah,
and they get to sleep on the floor.
Oh, yeah. If they would have had a pterodactyl just like flying over them, that would have been the most exciting part of their weekend.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, my gosh.
There'd be a bunch of guys that live on the island all pissed off. They built the pterodactyl and never got paid. Like, what the fuck, man?
They only got the cheese.
I'm not supposed to swear, and I already blew it. In the first 20 words I've spoken, I blew it.
That's what she said.
Oh my gosh! It's fine. It's fine. That's what Post is for. It's what you're just ensuring job security for me. Is all.
We're literally a not safe for work podcast on a safe for work podcast. It's a wonderful combination.
Sean, your skills are about to be challenged tonight.
No, right. It's not a problem. It's just all tape or something. I don't know. Okay, so man, this is going to be great. So let's pull up a comfy chair and dive into this movie. That is Wargames, 1983's Wargames. So when I was on your show, Two Dude Review, which I'll let you guys talk about in just a second, for the movie Inception. And so when I spoke to Karina about coming on our show, I said, "What would you like to do?" She said, "Something easy that we can just chat about." And I said, "Okay, you stick to like an 80s movie." And she said, "Yes." And so we talked about 2 or 3 movies, and we picked Wargames because at the time it was streaming. Damn it, it was streaming at the time.
This is twice.
Yeah,
this is twice in 2 weeks that I've had to hunt this movie down or hunt a movie down somewhere in a strange location.
Yeah, what's happening is that I'm booking guests for the show a month plus 6 weeks in advance.
Yeah,
and just because that's kind of how you kind of have to do it. And so at the time, Wargames was streaming. I only do offer movies that are streaming on the ones that we normally do streaming: Disney Plus, Amazon, or Netflix. And about 24 hours before we're supposed to watch. I always watch this the night before I record. I do my justwatch.com and I type in Wargames, and it's on Pluto TV.
Oh, well.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually free.
It's free.
Yeah.
There's some
Pluto
ads.
Never heard of.
Yeah, I watch Pluto all the time. Yeah,
It does
Pluto's
have
free.
ads, but and
You
I
do it
learned
for,
this.
like cops.
Yeah, I do it for cops and forensic files. I watch it for cops and forensic files. But yes, if it's on there, then it is still free. It just got ads in it.
But
Yeah.
here's the cool part, and I didn't know this until I went back to pull clips today. The ads are embedded in the movie, so you can skip them.
Oh.
I had no idea.
They're part of the movie, so you just hit that little fast forward 15 seconds button, and it skips the commercial. Well, you have to hit it a couple times because it's a couple minutes, but I didn't know that
I
last
wish I would
night.
have known that.
Yeah, me too.
Can I
Because
do that for,
I
like,
watched-
forensic files?
Cops and forensic
I watched
files?
this commercial about Auto Trader, the guy with no pants,
Yeah.
about 37 times.
Dude, they play the same ads over and over. I have watched probably about 37 episodes of Cops with the same two ads playing every 15 minutes of every episode of Cops.
I can't imagine how long it makes that up. The episode goes
longer than it
much.
should.
This movie was an hour and 50 minutes. I think I must have been sitting at the table watching it for maybe 2 hours, 2:30, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It adds
I don't know,
yeah,
but
it adds,
let me
yeah.
tell you all about Nugentix.
Yeah.
You see, Nugentix is this special pill you can take.
I'm sure it'll cause every disease that
Yeah.
you don't want in order to prevent one.
Right. Yeah, and if they want to sponsor us, that'd be great. So, sure, I'll accept their money. 1983. Oh no, actually, tell you what. Let's take a moment here and talk about Two Dude Review because your show is awesome, and you were very kind enough to let me come on. I think I kind of weaseled my way on your show, but
No, you explained Inception, and trust me, you did your best, and you did good. We're just not that smart because, to be honest, Inception still confuses us, but you did good.
Well, that
I
all
keep
having
putting the
been
microphone up to
said,
the-
I don't know where we are. I think what I was trying to get you guys to say that you guys are from Two Dude Review, and it's an awesome podcast, and I'll put your links and stuff in the show notes for the.
Yeah, what he said.
Nah.
Yeah.
It's a podcast. I don't know if I'd say it's an awesome one. It's a podcast.
It's awesome in its way.
We talk about movies sometimes.
Yeah.
Not even the one that we're necessarily covering.
Never the one we're covering. I mean, we talk about movies sometimes.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Ditch and derail. That is, we are the D&D of podcasts.
sure. We tangent all the time. Some of our best discussions are not about the movie at all. Though usually we can tell how much we like the movie or how much we don't like a movie by how much we don't talk about it. I mean, there are times where we're doing a movie that we really just none of us have enjoyed, and we're sitting here talking about the last time we all did a tabletop game together, and it's like, 20 minutes later, we should talk about whatever this thing is.
Yeah.
So.
No, we've done. I think it was. It was like some movie from the 1930s. I think we talked about
A Trip to the Moon. Trip to the Moon.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about it for about 60 seconds out of a 45-minute.
20-minute movie.
Yeah,
It's a
that's true. It was a 20-minute movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you say about bad,
It's not graphics. It's not anything. It's weird props, and we didn't understand half of it. And a smiling face on the moon, you go,
Sure.
so how was your day at work?
It's an old classic. It's one of those, at the time it was probably pretty revolutionary.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, do with a piece of cardboard in front of a camera. Yeah, that
Just
is
the fact that they had cameras in those days, I do have a fun old, I don't think Andrew's ever heard this little bit of trivia, but I actually have an old connection to old Hollywood. So my mom's
Moving pictures,
yeah, yeah. So my mom's mom,
the talkies.
my mom's mom grew up in California. She grew up near L.A. and she was one of the first women to ever play in the California or the L.A. Philharmonic. She played first viola, but her
Oh, my
uncle.
God. Both my kids played viola, by the way. Go ahead.
Oh, that's cool.
Sorry. Yeah.
But her
Sorry.
uncle was one of the designers. He created the first collapsible set in Hollywood, and so the idea was that back before, like in the original, those original movies like we just mentioned, or even movies like Wizard of Oz, they would have to build everything, and then when they were done with it, they would have to take it apart. And he came up with this idea that, well, what if we put these sets on wheels so that we can build it, set it up, and then store it in case we needed it again.
That is a frustrated designer going, I don't want to build this shit anymore.
Well,
I don't want to take it up. I don't want to take it down.
I'm going to go a little Marvel here. Language.
Oh, sorry.
Kiss your mother with that mouth.
No, you got to know my mom.
It probably was more to do with the fact that some producer is like, yeah, you can't have $2,000 for plywood.
Yeah.
So
that's people like going, no, we're not doing. Well, that's okay. So if you think about it, like Gone with the Wind, the Atlanta scene was actually burning down the King Kong set. And I think that's Hollywood of just going, we're done with that background scene. How are we going to get rid of it? Well, we got Gone with the Wind filming.
Yeah.
Let's just burn Atlanta, or let's burn the King Kong set. Call it Atlanta. And then they realized maybe collapsible sets. That's a lot cheaper than setting a big one on fire.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. So I'm going to try this for I think maybe the third time. This is Wargames, 1983. And I'll admit, this was my first viewing of this movie.
No.
Yeah.
Now, you work in tech, right, Sean?
I do.
All right. So, I mean, the tech in this, I know, is a little bit like higher standard than you're used to. So
I do work for a community college. So
they still use those tube screens there.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of things that just have a lot of buttons and like things that also just blink? A lot of lights. Yeah. And then a woman that walks around with a clipboard that looks at the lights and just seems to be checking things off about the lights where it's
Let me ask a question. Does it make as much noise? Like, can you hear yourself when you're in that room?
God.
Just
so okay.
That was the worst scene, by the way.
Okay, hold on.
What is she writing down?
It's a clipboard. We're both sitting there like, what is she doing? It's a clipboard and it's just a bunch of lights. What is she just checking off? Yeah, that light's blinking. That one's also blinking. Orange, red, blinking. Oh, still blinking.
The funny part was that, so when I watched it for the first time, my brain did the same thing. I'm like, what is she doing? I don't like, is she counting, like the little light diodes? But I just I moved it out of my brain because it's like they literally the camera just needs us as the audience to see the Whopper working, right? We just need to see it working, and they just wanted to physically show it. But when I went back and had to watch the scene again to pull clips, I thought, boy, that's really dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I know they just wanted to have some movement, right? They put her in there to have something to do. Otherwise, you're spinning around a box. It's a wooden box with flashy Christmas lights. And so I guess they put her in the shot to give it some credibility. But you're not wrong. It is dumb. But the first time I watched it, I didn't care because I grew up watching those Star Trek movies where the panels were just lights that did nothing except blink because they just want. We think
you guys have seen Airplane 2, right? When what is it? Is it actually
Airplane or Airplane?
Is it Shatner that is going and he starts having his tangent and the lights they just keep blinking and blinking and that whole thing. That whole tangent he goes on. It kind of is the same thing where, it's.
Well, Airplane kind of made fun of that too. The original Airplane where you have their dashboard where it's like kind of a real airplane thing. And then it kind of goes off and it's all kind of flashy lights bits. That's what it kind of reminded me here of going, okay, maybe a little bit too much. And I watched this probably in 85, 84 on VHS because I was young and, I was a teenager when this came out.
I'm guessing Sean and Andrew were probably fetuses around that time.
I was actually.
I was in 83. I was 1.
I was not.
I was not
graduated-
either. So.
I graduated in 1987, so this is absolutely my era of of movie. And trust me, when he had that modem, my first computer, Apple IIc. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. That was my first computer.
The first one we had was a Tandy 1000.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I actually had an Atari 800. Is the first computer I had before I had an Apple IIc. So I had the Atari, the Apple, and then I moved to the Macintosh. Then I was all like Steve Jobs.
Wanted the modem. I thought the modem was the best thing in the world.
Right.
Then I realized something. Who are you going to talk to?
Nah.
Yeah.
No, I had one. I got one in 1988. I had like an 800 baud modem. And yeah, you have a very good question of like, who do you talk to? You just basically go on like bulletin boards and you talk to dudes about Star Trek and download crappy software that no one wants.
But if you're a nerd,
and that's nothing has changed in 30 years.
Exactly. 30 years. Oh no, keep going, man. Keep going.
Yeah.
Getting closer to 50.
But
adorable. Yeah. But in the beginning, this was a very, if you were a nerd, very sexy movie.
Sure.
It had all the tech that we thought was cool at the time.
well, so Andrew still needs to do the read in case there's someone listening that doesn't know what Wargames is. But I will say this real quick before we leave this particular moment. I love the tech of this movie, and we're going to really get into it because this movie does something that Andrew and I and Sam have talked about at least 50 or so times, and that's the movie doesn't talk down to us. So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. Andrew, what is, in fact, Wargames?
Before I do the read, just to date myself, compared to you guys, my first computer was a Gateway, and it had Windows 95.
Shit.
Sorry.
Damn youngin'.
95. I was in college in 95. All right. I mean, no, that's cool.
Okay. So anyway.
My son was 4, so go for that.
All right. Wargames. A young man finds a backdoor into a military central computer in which reality is confused with game playing, possibly starting World War III.
All right, there you go. That's actually not bad. That's usually was that IMDb?
Yeah, that's IMDb.
That one's
written
not bad.
by Anonymous.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's do, if we don't mind. I forgot to prep you. We have this thing called 5-word reviews. I don't think I told you about that. Do you guys have one, or can you make one up while I do mine?
I'm sure I can.
Great.
Sure.
Again, I'm a bad host. I forgot to do that. Andrew, if you will, do your 5-word review, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. I have one, but I'm looking through my notes to find it because it's all like typed in together. Well, that's why teachers shouldn't carry guns. Is one of mine. For the scene that we mentioned earlier at the beginning, because there's many times where I've been with a coworker and I just want to pull the gun on him and say, just do it. Right. But anyway, or sometimes a student. No, that's not my real one. Where is the...
It does make you think that's the only reason why they're armed, right? Is to hold each other physically accountable.
Oh, here it is. How dumb are military generals, actually? Because, and another thing, I'm just going to throw my questions out. Last week I saved them. Here's another question for you. We can talk about this. Do we just do tours of NORAD and the war room? Can anybody just sign up? Is there a souvenir shop at the end of this? Can we get a little mug that says, "Thanks for visiting NORAD"? What the heck is this? Right? I mean, that whole scene with the tour group blew me away.
Oh no! The tour group. Wait a minute. The tour group that turned around and when she pushed the wrong button, flashed a sign up and freaked everybody out. That's what you want to do to a tour group.
Do we? Yeah. Do we just have that in there to prank tourists?
Did you change the chair out every time Granny decides to empty her bladder on it when they scare her to death with starting World War III?
Oh, no, that's a good plan.
But as far as the movie, yes, it's dated by the technology, but like you said, I don't have a problem with the technology itself. I'm with you. I kind of like it. The only thing that I didn't like as far as the technology goes, he's showing this projected reel-to-reel movie in his house, and the movie is projecting onto the faces of Matthew. It's just stuff like that kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
But
I wrote that down in one of my tropes. Trope of projection screen projects image onto face.
Yeah.
Sean, can I jump in here real
Please.
quick? All right. When you guys say that you don't have a problem with the technology, as someone that was around at this time and age, I'm going to throw out there that we didn't have the little voice box that could talk. We didn't have these ability for these not the 3.5 inch discs, the 5.25 inch discs.
Yeah.
We didn't have the ability for them to just pick up that an operating system didn't have. I'm nerdy before y'all were even remotely nerdy, and like it wasn't like this. This was
a dream state.
Yeah, this
was pre-Oregon Trail.
What any of us could get. I remember my parents brought home our first computer, and all it understood was BASIC. And I remember I'm typing in like thermonuclear war, and I'm like, syntax error. Oh well, all right, that sucks. So
I guess
print thermonuclear war, and then it just would repeat itself over and over again. So the technology was made to look cool for.
It was sexy.
Yeah.
It was meant to look sexy. It just.
Well, I think that's what we mean by that. Yeah, it looks sexy.
Yeah, the tech wasn't there. It just really wasn't there.
That's where you have to take yourself out of it. Like, you are the nerd, and you have to take yourself out of the actual nerd. As a kid?
Excuse me, I don't think I'm going to do that right now. This is not right now. The 5.5 inch discs did not exist in 1983. Not prevalent.
But it brought teenagers where we kind of, you wanted that. How did you not want that? There was a setup that every kid went, what do I have to do in order to make that happen?
All I remember is I wished I could get a dot matrix printer in this day and age. Like in 1983, that was like something I had this little printer that was like the size now that we have for the receipts of credit cards. And it had like 8 little blotters on it, and it would just print that way. And it was the most obscene looking thing. Everything looked like credit card tape now. And that was the best I could do for printers because I couldn't afford like an Apple.
You're not bitter, so
no, I'm not bitter.
So guys, we have the bitter rant.
Screw this podcast. I'm out of here.
Wow, it only took 30 minutes for us to get him to.
Brian to tap out. He's finally out. All right, let's actually talk now.
I made him quit podcasting. No, I mean specifically about the technology. What I mean, and not to speak for Andrew, is that to us, again, we weren't living it, so maybe it was different for you, having lived in a time. But the technology didn't seem so far futuristic that it didn't seem believable. To me, everything I was looking at seemed believable. Because I remember the 3.5 inch floppies, and so when he pulled out that big one, I just assumed that that's a thing. I thought I read in the trivia that was a thing. That was a real thing.
It was a thing. Yes, it was.
But not for us mere mortals. It was not.
Yeah,
I understand that.
I had the 3.5 inch floppy, and I remember that I played games on there. I played Ultima on there and stuff. But and I did have a dot matrix printer. However, that really big floppy, if you had remotely that setup that he had, I cannot begin to tell you how much money that would have cost.
That would be like us having almost a supercomputer in our house.
Yeah.
I mean,
and for those of you that are younger listeners, when we say 3.5 inch floppy, we're not talking about a penis.
Sure.
Okay, you don't have to. Don't delete that. That's a good thing.
Oh no, that stays in. That's going to be the title of our show.
3.5-inch floppy.
What's even weirder is we didn't even have the big discs back in I was taking classes in the 80s. We had actually what was called punch cards. Mm-hmm. So you would actually put your card in and put the binary code, then it would punch into your card. So you would have the ones and zeros directly into your card, and you would take your cards.
I didn't even have that.
Yeah, and you would slide them into the computer. And that's how you knew like how nerdy someone was by the stack of their cards. And when you watch Revenge of the Nerds and like the bullies, the worst thing you could do to someone with a stack of cards, smack that shit on the ground. Sorry for my language. And all of a sudden someone has to pick all of that up and try to put it in the right order again to get your program to work. It was a horrifying experience.
That sounds just like, why would you even want to use technology if it's that hard to use?
Because it was awesome.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
It was something that didn't exist then. Everyone else was,
the worst thing, my mother used to bring those cards home when they would go out of order, and we would play with them.
Yes. Now you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we had cards.
This reminds me of the scene in Back to the Future with the little kid playing the Wild Gunman game, and he's like, "You have to use your hands. That's a baby's toy."
Yeah. Baby's toy. Oh my goodness!
So I feel older, thanks.
And now all you guys are like, I use current programming languages, and I just have a compiler that does all that work. No, we did it with cards.
Yeah.
We
walked uphill both ways. Damn it!
Well, speaking of being old,
it was a whole other world for us.
We did that too, but that's because we went to school in the mountains.
Speaking of being old, did anybody else catch the statement of? They're 41. They're old.
Yeah.
41. I flicked off my computer screen as I was watching it.
Yeah.
I'm like 11 years older than I'm going, you know what? Go pound sand, kids. Go pound sand. So you want to know what killed me? We're at the 7-Eleven right now that we have playing in the background. A carton of cigarettes, $6.99 for a carton of cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's not cool. That's not cool at all.
Is that how much it was back then that you're saying?
Yeah, a little bit. When I worked at the gas station, it was $10 a carton, which is now about $10 a pack right now.
$10 is cheap. Sean, sorry, I keep throwing you off.
No, you're fine. That's you're playing the part of Sam tonight. So let's just be real. The only thing that you haven't done so far is threaten me with bodily harm, and which Andrew did earlier.
I will chop your head off and kick it around like a soccer ball.
Ding, 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 ding.
Usually Sam is a little bit more creative than that, but I'm just saying, use your imagination. You'll find a way.
I'm new. I'm working
open.
on it. I'm just testing. I'm testing the boundaries here.
That's fine. So I'm going to do my 5-word real quick, and that is. Where is it? I lost it in my script. Here it is. People are better than machines. I think is what
they?
Well, that's what the moral of the story I think of this movie is trying to get us to.
I think the moral of the story is tic-tac-toe sucks, and every child knows that.
Yeah, my son wants to play every time we go to a restaurant with a menu that has coloring, and whenever I beat him, he cries. So.
So you let him win?
No, I just make sure it's always a tie. Let my son win.
You go full Joshua on him.
Hell yeah! Learn. We just bought. I haven't told you this yet. My wife bought a Switch a couple days ago.
Yeah,
and so we've been playing Mario Kart and Smash Brothers. And Declan, my son, says, "Let's race, Dad." I'm like, "You sure? Because I'm not going to let you win." And I beat him every time. We played a 4. We did a Grand Prix of 4. I came in first. He came in like 3rd or 4th. And he had to walk away. He was getting a little emotional about it. And because he'll talk trash, but he can, the second you say.
It's literally Chad and Brian.
It's part of learning. It's part of
it.
It's
It is.
Being a dude and learning.
He's
it
8.
Just is.
He's 8. He'll figure some stuff out.
Yeah,
anyway.
you practice enough. He'll school you in no time. Just give him a little time.
So one of the things that I really liked about the movie, because I feel like we haven't talked enough about the things we actually do like about the movie.
Can I give my 5?
No. And that is... No, go ahead. Seriously, I'm going. I'm
Feel
joking.
shame, Brian.
That's
Feel
what you
shame.
get for trying to cut my head off or something.
Yeah.
What was it? Ferris Bueller still can hack. 5 words.
Wow.
There you go. All right, now you can go on.
Okay.
I got my
wait,
5. You
do
made
I
me,
get my 5?
of
course you do.
You made me come up with my 5.
Wait.
All right, go on.
All right. Teenagers wield too much power. And this goes on every level of he had too much power at the damn school because he changed grades for everyone. And he hacked into a major government, infrastructure, and they, too much power. And apparently they have too much power because they can get away with everyone. They don't go to jail. They get a ruffle head at the end.
Ruffle hair. That part did
You
annoy
old
me.
scamp.
I mean, one of the few moments in the movie where I was really like, what, was when they crashed through the gate with the Jeep. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There are men with guns there stopping that moment.
Somebody should have gotten it to a head.
I can't imagine that they crashed that Jeep and no one stops them.
Well, I had a question because the alarms are going off. All these people are running into the bunker. She's screaming, "Leave the door open, let them get in." But yet we casually see these people driving out towards the entrance in this little Austin Powers go-kart.
Yeah.
And and where are they? Like, they're not guarding the gate? What are they doing?
Yeah, they're.
And if everyone's not in, you're dead. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I just
You didn't make it. Good luck.
Other than there were 2 guards that you see kind of position themselves outside the door, like as it shuts. But everyone else, like, I don't know. You have to hope that their job just like, are they like non-essential workers? I don't know. It's just
you draw straws for that
just to
job.
jump on both what Andrew and Karina were saying. It's like they made sure they held the door for Ali Sheedy and Ferris Bueller to run in, but then there's other like military guys out there just standing there like, the hell with
good.
you,
Let
and
the
they close the
teenagers
door. And I'm like, they're just standing there with machine guns like, all right, I guess I'm here now.
Yep.
Thanks.
Hello, random teenager.
I guess
Run
I'll
into.
be-
No. Hello, random teenager. Run into our facility.
Yeah.
We will allow this.
I'm sure his girlfriend will be a lot of use to our safety. Me with my machine gun will stand out here and die in the explosion.
I guess because they did have a guy in a uniform running with them. So I guess that gave them, kind of carte blanche to go through. And the lady in the business suit was, she was screaming too. So, I mean,
But if you see a lady in a business suit screaming, do you really go, no, run ahead of everyone?
Well, no, but I mean, like, she's obviously higher up enough in the food chain there that everyone there knows who she is. I'm okay with them leaving her alone. I'm okay with them making the mad dash up the tunnel and whatever. Again, they should never have gotten to the part where the gate crashed. And like, I don't care if that's a military Jeep. If there is a Jeep coming towards a closed gate, there are men with guns there trying to stop you.
Well, you'd think so, right?
But they want to have, I guess, because that literally is the only action scene in the whole movie, because so much of the movie happens, in the brain of a
terrorizing kids in helicopter.
Yeah, the helicopter.
Yeah.
That part kind of annoyed me because you know what it is, like that it's the guy. And again, I haven't seen this, and I knew that. I'm like, all he has to do is get on the little bullhorn and go, "Hey guys, it's me. Stop running so I can land." Like, time is precious.
Why are they running? The world is ending. We're about to get nuked. Why run from this helicopter?
And where are you going to go? You're on an island.
Exactly.
Like, where are you going?
Yeah.
It's a
You
small
are on
island.
an island.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of places you're gonna hide at this point.
Neither one of you guys have played Far Cry, apparently. Because, if there's a helicopter, you're still on an island. You can get away, and you can take care of some business.
Or we could just sit there and reminisce about swimming.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God!
Yes.
You live in Seattle and you don't swim? Come on!
Well,
this is a time to shame someone.
That's a beach town, by the way.
Insanity! It's like 3 miles in the dark. No, you don't go swimming in that.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're an expert swimmer.
One way or another, it will be the end of your world.
No, you don't swim in like ocean water in the dark.
If we have any listeners in Seattle,
We do.
Do all of you just swim? Is that a thing?
Did you just say
Like-
use?
We don't have.
Do any of you guys just swim?
You said use.
And do you swim like 3 miles in the dark randomly going,
Yeah.
it's fine, just swim that way.
Yeah, it's fine. 'Cause we're in Seattle. We all know how to do this. It's part of high school.
Yeah.
I will say that since we're kind of in this world of kind of making fun of things, I will say this. So Matthew Broderick, I think he's really good acting in this movie for a kid. I mean, he's a kid. And but there's a couple moments where I felt bad for his character because obviously the writers are making him say things. And there's a couple moments where it feels like the writers can't tell if he's smart or not. Because this guy is able to, I mean, I guess if you know the password to the computer because it's written down on a piece of paper in the office, I mean, that's not hacking. That's just remembering the word pencil. But
That's just observation. Yeah.
yeah, but if you know how to do what to do with that information is what's important. Like I could know Andrew's social, but I don't know what to do with it. So I guess if you know what to do with it, then there's that. But my point is that he's smart enough to do these things, and he's smart enough to be able to get into the brain of the head of this guy to find the backdoor password to activate Joshua. Yet he doesn't know what the word trajectory is.
Yeah. Very true.
Was that him that screwed that up, or was that Ellie Sheep?
She said the word she said the word wrong, and he said, "I don't know." And I thought,
fair enough.
did you both fail English?
Well, they did make Fs in their classes.
Right, but not English. I don't know.
That is valid, actually.
Okay.
They're great, and if you saw their other grades, they weren't great outside of that one.
But we're watching the movie in the background. What bothers me in a big way, okay? So they just drug him out of the office for, I don't know, hacking into it. It's a dummy terminal. I don't know if anyone's ever worked at a dummy terminal. I have. It's a dummy terminal. There's nothing to this terminal. There's no... It just is.
Yeah.
And how he hacked into Joshua at this moment, I don't know. That some of these things do kind of bother me, like the lady walking around with her clipboard,
Sure,
and things like dummy terminals. That's not right. You can't. This is where I feel like they do kind of talk down to the audience of going,
wait,
yeah.
I'm sorry, we're watching in the background right now, and massive sexual harassment's about to take place.
Yeah.
That was more of a part that annoyed me than anything. Was like,
So uncomfortable.
yeah, the what did I write down? I wrote. Okay, hang on. I
That
wrote
should
it.
never happen. That's what everyone should write down. Going, dude, this is wrong.
Nothing like
was
80s.
the 80s.
I did write. Nothing like 80s casual workplace sexual harassment. That's what I wrote.
Yeah, and they just kind of go with it.
Yeah, whatever. She'll be fine.
It's Mad Men.
The boob
And then
thing.
like the only thing that it like, because when he says, "Do you want me to leave?" and she says yes, like the only thing that would have made it worse if he would have called her a name, like, well, fine, bitch, or something,
Yeah.
But like I guess my biggest complaint to the movie, because you said, I guess what I mean when I say the movie doesn't talk down to us, and we've talked about this almost ad nauseum. The listeners of our show who've been listening for a while know, like, I hate it when directors treat us like we're idiots, and us as the audience. I mean, not the four of us, but well, I guess us too. But like, for example, I use this example all the time. We watched the Thomas Crown Affair. I love that movie. I think it's a really good movie, and it's directed by John McTiernan, who also did Die Hard. And but there's a scene where when he steals the painting at the beginning of the movie, right? It's a painting he takes his briefcase and opens it up, and then puts the painting in. And then he closes the briefcase, which would, of course, snap the frame and damage the canvas. And then he opens the briefcase and takes it out perfectly pristine and hangs on the wall. And in the trivia, the director literally said, "I just hoped people wouldn't notice that." That's treating us like we're stupid. So to me, having Lady walk around a box that's blinking, taking notes, doesn't say that he thinks we're stupid. That just means he needed some movement in the shot.
So you watch Thomas Crown Affair and not notice Rene Russo is naked 90% of the time during.
I mean,
it,
I
right?
definitely noticed that part, but it didn't bother me.
All right, because you and I watched two different movies with that. I don't even know if there was a painting at all.
Brian's like, there was a painting?
Yes,
So
there was.
To play devil's advocate. devil's advocate to your thought, though, there, Sean. Could it be, though, that yes, they needed movement, but he was hoping that no one would know enough about technology to notice that these are just flashing lights? And
I do think that. I mean, I think what people in the 80s, no offense to you two, what people in the 80s thought what the technology would be, because like that set for NORAD, they didn't have an actual way of showing. They weren't allowed. There's no tours of NORAD. So there's no way to actually see what that place looked like. So you just put a bunch of lights on stuff, and that's fine because it's blinky, and it's the 80s, and we don't care. Now, if you make this movie today, everything's going to be, smooth and sleek and touchscreen and lens flares and stuff like that, which is fine. But like, I didn't care. I really didn't care because the part of the story that I liked was the human element. This kid outsmarting all of these other people, which is kind of funny.
Well, adults are dumb in 80s movies.
Well, they are, especially in movies where the hero's a kid. I mean, this feels like a John Hughes movie.
Yeah, it does.
100%. And this is, I mean, you have the absentee parent. They're there.
Those parents crack me up.
There. They absolutely said, the reason why he can get away with this because the parents, quote unquote, work. And that was actually kind of introduced. Ali Sheedy, she clearly has no parents because she just shows up and goes, and she can buy plane tickets.
Yeah, she can buy plane tickets and drive to wherever.
She can disappear, by the way. If you notice, what's interesting is that Matthew Broderick has parents. Ali Sheedy, she can disappear for days. No one talks about her parents.
Yeah.
So, there's a whole other, the teenager dynamic, and you're right.
Well, that's another
the 80s.
That's another thing you guys didn't know about us in the 80s. We had no parents.
We had no parents.
We just
we were the latchkey kids.
Yeah, we had to figure it all out on our own. And this is what we turn into. I mean, this is you guys are doing way better. So yeah,
well,
I want to do this.
But the interesting thing is that he outsmarts every adult. So
pretty well. I guess maybe except Dr. Falcon, whatever. He doesn't outsmart him now. He does moral him, whatever. But gives him a sense of morality, I guess. But
I would argue that Falcon was essentially an overgrown teen. I mean,
he was flying a robot pterodactyl.
Well, he reminds me of the character that. The guy that invented the freaking Ready Player One, the guy that invented the Oasis. Like, I wonder if Klein took that idea, because this guy seems very aloof. He's just about the whatever. He just he's
about the gameplay.
Yeah.
He wants. I mean, would you like to play a game? That is who Falcon is. He wants to play games. He doesn't want to live in reality. So. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's why he's a recluse on an island.
Borderline autistic, kind of.
Could be.
That ideology that they're going with,
and
which they could never even distinguish in 1983.
But he never takes a lead in the entire movie, and that's the thing. The only time he takes a lead, oddly enough, is when he flies a helicopter and chases teenagers down.
Yeah.
But outside of that, he never takes the lead.
Which, may I throw a monkey wrench in? How did he? So he just calls someone and get a helicopter?
Well, I mean he's still a powerful, important dude. I mean, the quote unquote world thinks he's dead, but even Dabney Coleman let slip that he's not dead, because when Matthew Broderick says, how was that? When he says, I used to be his apprentice, or I interned for him, or whatever he says, and he's like, well, what was he like? And he says, well, he's a little crazy. He doesn't use past tense. He uses present tense. He's a little weird and doesn't understand people or something. He's using present tense. So that's the foreshadow that he's not dead. So that we.
Yeah, but you can't hide a helicopter.
I know. My point is that he still.
I know,
he still has connection. I mean, all he has to do is pick up the phone and say, "Hey, military
bro,
guy,
where'd you park? It's right next to the helicopter, man."
Yeah.
But I mean, that kind of bothers me too. Of going, you have that helicopter didn't just kind of show up. He probably had it on the island because, as he said, I don't necessarily have a boat. He doesn't have a phone. That man had a helicopter, and somehow everyone enjoyed
Well, were we
it.
supposed to assume he had I never assumed he had a helicopter. I assumed he called someone and they brought a helicopter.
Because there was
to
a
him.
pilot in there with him. There was
There was a
someone
pilot,
else in
yeah.
there. So maybe there's a guy that lives on the island that's only his job is to be his personal chopper guy. You know?
This job sucks.
Or it's the best job ever.
Job, but it kind of
Well,
sucks.
they said he doesn't have a boat because they're like, who lives on an island doesn't have a boat? Maybe that's his transport.
That's his transportation. He just
yeah.
flies by chopper.
So there's one dude on the island that goes, "You gotta go somewhere. All right, let's go."
Yeah.
It's his weed dealer.
Yeah.
Actually,
All right.
that guy
I
probably.
have two jobs.
That guy's sitting there watching old Harryhausen films. Yeah, you know he smokes something.
So I think there was one more incidents where we had the film talked down to us a little bit.
Okay.
And that was with the FBI agents. These are the least inconspicuous FBI agents that I've ever seen in my life. They had a huge telephone cord just popping out of their ear. Sure. Right.
Yeah.
And we got the one guy standing there slapping his hand with a rolled up newspaper like he's about to hit a dog.
And the free candy van. It's coming to our van, the creepiest van on the face of the planet.
Dude,
that they're driving around.
They had to rent it. They had to rent that van. There's no way the FBI owned that van. They had to rent it. You can't tell me the FBI owned that van that they just can go get it. They had to rent. They had to go there, and some guy is like, "Yeah, no, that van. I'll take that van right there. That's perfect for what we need."
Does it have
the one.
rusted exhaust? That's the only one.
This is the one we need right now.
What kind of van screams kidnapping teenagers? This candy one. Perfect.
Does it have a sign for free puppies? Does it have one? Because when we put that in the window.
I will say this. There are some times where it feels like I can't tell if the movie is supposed to be like a Disney comedy or not. Because
this is honestly, no, it's not. And I can speak from being there in 1983 and being like 9 years old and watching my parents like lose their minds over this.
Right.
No, it really wasn't. It's supposed to be taken seriously. We just have been numbed to it over 40 years.
But my point isn't that. Like, I know that the idea of thermonuclear war is a terrifying, my point wasn't that. My point was there are moments in the movie where it's downright slapsticky, and I thought this movie was supposed to kind of be like in earnest and like, you know, we're actually trying to present this terrifying situation through the eyes of a kid, and yet we literally have FBI agents bumbling over the poor tech guy trying to open the door. Very Three Stooges, like they're all rushing to get in, and the tech is in the way, and then on the way out, the tech is in the way, and they're like bumbling past him. It was very slapsticky kind of thing. Like I expected the two bad guys from Home Alone to show up. In that moment.
I get that. I'm telling you, this is just kind of when it came to IT or like tech at all at that time, it was very almost taboo. No one knew what the hell it was. It wasn't around in everyday life. And even when it was around, it was like, the year this came out, we actually had a computer brought into our classroom. A computer. It was on a cart, and they put it in the back of our classroom. And this was considered a like high-end, you know, a technological advance for schools. And it was a cart in the back of the room that could play Oregon Trail and Math Blaster. And that's all it could do. But, you know, that was it. People didn't understand computers at all back in the 80s. It took a long time from the 80s into the 90s. And even in the mid-90s, people are still stupid about it.
Well, yeah, we still have movies like Swordfish that...
Yeah. So it really wasn't that... It wasn't that they were trying to be slapsticky. It was that they honestly thought the only certain select few even understood how these things worked. And Everyone else was the general in this movie that thought your computer ideas are stupid and men need to do it.
Well, he was a Luddite.
Then I'll piss on a spark plug.
Yeah.
I may have captured that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He was a Luddite, though, is what he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be the anti-technology.
Sure.
And the real war was against Luddite versus technology. That's kind of what this movie is more about than what people realize. People feared technology in the 80s, like in a hyper weird sense.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I agree with I do agree with that
Yeah.
100%.
And other movies would that we and I'm going to reference
Skynet.
one. Well, also I think enforce that idea that technology was a scary thing. Then now we just know it better. It's still scary now. I mean, I work at a community college that was hit by a cyber attack that shut us down for 2 months. So
Oh,
yeah, Google Central Piedmont Community College hack. It's the same group that hit the Central pipeline in Georgia or Alabama or Louisiana, wherever it was.
yeah.
Same guys that shut them down, shut us down. So again, we fear technology now, but more of us understand what's happening. I guess.
But Sean,
Well,
I can't fear it now because I got to do my research on the face place.
Yeah, it's true.
I got to get on my
Yeah, do all your
information.
research on that place, and you'll be fine. But I guess
It's on a spark plug.
yeah,
but
I
you
love that
also
line.
can see just sociologically how it goes into play. I mean, in the 80s, it wasn't cool to be into tech.
Yeah.
And
No,
that
it was
is, that's the, and I honestly, and as a guy that I actually worked for like a video game magazine in 1992, let's just say the panties weren't dropping left and right for me.
Well, I mean, and the movie.
Nowadays they very well may be, but then no, not so much.
Yeah, well, yeah, you didn't have billionaire tech guys back then either. Like you do now.
I
Now
know,
you've got
you did. Yeah.
now you've got two of the richest people are tech guys, and they're trying to fight a race to get to space for some reason instead of I don't know fixing world hunger or something. But anyway,
Oh, yeah, I agree. But we thought technology back then was the enemy. I mean, because
Sure.
it wasn't people. And to this,
And the Cold War was crazy back then. And
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you guys ever had to do the tornado drills under the seats and all that crap that
we
they
did
had to
we
do.
did it in the hallway. We did tornado drills in the hallway.
Yeah.
We certainly didn't have duck and cover. But that was before your time even. But
Well, yeah, no, I had to do underneath my desk. I remember my
we didn't have the underneath the desk.
I had it underneath my desk. I
Well,
don't know.
that's tornado, but like that was nuclear war. No, that was in the 50s where you had the nuclear war.
Yeah,
Go,
the
just
duck
go
and
to your
cover.
desk, you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, that should take care of it.
yeah, the piece of cardboard can save you from a nuclear blast.
Good wash, you'll be fine.
Well, as much crap as I shoved in my desk as a first grader, it probably would have sheltered me a little bit.
Yeah, that
You
paper.
got some number 2 pencils in there. That should take care of some nuclear blast.
I'm pretty certain
Some
my
pure granite.
erasers now could probably still like shelter a lot of kids. But what's funny is that again, the movies in the background for us, I remember like all the tech in the background. It was fascinating.
Well,
know,
sure,
but it was-
yeah.
It was no better than Galaga, and I in the beginning of the movie they're showing like Galaga that the NORAD tech didn't look any better than Galaga in the beginning.
Well,
when you really think about it,
Yeah, and there's some trivia about that. I don't think I captured it, but there's some trivia about that as well. Just because they didn't have the graphics cards that we do now. I mean, obviously, like even those big screens at NORAD, like that didn't exist. Those were just screens, empty screen. Like they didn't even have the graphics card to rear project. So there is a rear projection, but it's a rear projecting, I think, just like a green or a blue image that then they later superimposed on the film the graphics that's happening. So there's nothing on those screens. So that's how we're able to get that really fun trope that we mentioned earlier, where they're projecting, XOs and whatever on their faces. from that. So anyway, couple of quick notes I want to hit to before I do clips. I love that John Spencer is in this movie. He was the guy what didn't pull the trigger. He's our West Wing connection. I love John Spencer. He's great. And I feel bad that he lost his job to a computer. Back to also my comment about, is this movie supposed to make me think that it's a comedy or not? Is that the movie music, the soundtrack, the score reminded me of like Stripes.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, there's a couple of times, especially. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. Yeah,
The very last piece of music you hear right as the credits are rolling, it sounds like a Western.
Yeah.
Like there's a harmonica and a banjo, and I'm like, what is
The
this?
score is kind of all over the place.
it's a little weird there.
It is a little weird. I don't want to,
Did we write this for City Slickers and it was left over, so we're going to throw it into this movie? What's happening?
Yeah, it is City Slickers. Yeah, it's a little weird. The guy what wrote the music, Arthur B. Rubinstein, is known mostly for TV. But he's done a bunch of stuff. But I mean, most of
Bonanza?
is that a real thing? I mean, I know Bonanza.
Bonanza? Yeah, it's a TV show.
I know, but I'm saying, like, did he do that? I don't know. Let's see.
No, I don't know. No, I asked.
He
other
did.
questions.
Let's see, Taxi, the TV movie. I mean, most of the stuff. Yeah, like so before this, the men who made the movies, Howard Hawks, TV movie documentary. He did a couple episodes of The Love Boat. He did Flying High TV series. He did. I don't know, Blue Thunder. Blue Thunder. Is that?
Oh, wow,
Is that
Blue
the helicopter movie I'm thinking of?
I haven't thought about that in years.
He did that.
Tropic Thunder.
No, Tropic.
Oh, drop.
No, he's joking. He's joking. Let's see. Nothing else I've ever heard of. Stuff like something called Defense Play, Nightmare at Bitter Creek, Baywatch, Panic at Malibu Pier TV movie.
God, Baywatch, you've made it.
He did two episodes of The Simpsons, so good for him. Anyway, he's a TV guy, and it was fine. There was a couple moments where I'm like, oh, I'm watching. This is going to be like Stripes. It's going to be funny. And again, like that's why I'm asking. Like the FBI guys are tripping over the tech who's trying to open the door that Matthew Broderick hacked.
That was ridiculous, by the way.
I mean, it was ridiculous. It's just a door knob. Like, did he hack the little turny knocky thing? Because it's not like there's a deadbolt. There was no mag lock. I'm just gonna be honest. There was no mag lock, but whatever. He hacked it with a pair of.
Well, it became Keystone Cops too, because the tech that was supposed to open that up, everyone's tripping over him.
That was the point I was making like 5 minutes ago before Brian yelled at me.
Well, I mean, he does that to all of us.
I know, it's fine. I'm just like that was one of the parts where I'm like, what's happening? And like there was another part that was really weird is when he's sneaking out from under the stairs and this like guy grabs him. First of all, let your hands off the minor.
Yep.
And he goes, you think you kids can just run the place? I'm like, who are you, disgruntled, angry guy? And he goes, you're not supposed to separate from the tour. He was 3 feet away from the tour, the last guy in the tour when you grabbed him. Now he's separated from the tour, asshole. Like,
and as a teacher that has taken kids on many field trips, that's typical, right?
Yeah.
There's always one kid who's staring at the wall while everybody else is moving on, and you're going to get somebody behind. That's not behind.
Well, the other problem is, and again, you are kind of grabbing this child and going, well, you kids, how many kids are going through NORAD?
Yeah, exactly. Are there school trips going through here? Because you're right. The phrase he says, "you kids," because it made me wonder when they first were there. I thought because they mentioned earlier they're trying to bring senators or something, and he said, "I wish they would bring senators up here so they could see what's happening." Dabney Coleman says that. So I thought that was a tour of senators.
No.
But you can see the group and they've got like film cameras. I mean, they look like tourists. And so I thought,
yes.
And like one of them was really young. And so when Matthew Broderick is able to kind of sneak into the group, I thought, okay, these are not senators. These are just, because it even says, welcome to the people of Jacksonville or something like distinguished guests of Jacksonville or some dumb thing. I don't remember what it was, but In my notes, it just turned into. I wrote tour guide or tour ex machina. That's all they are.
I accept that.
Yeah, it's just that's what they are. A tour ex machina.
Well, it bothered me that entire scene of that dude just kind of hanging out on the stairs, and they're like, "No, wait for me."
Yeah.
You're going into a room of like, I don't know, 20 people.
Yeah.
You'll find me. Honest to God.
He's just,
And whoever polishes the floors, well done to them.
yeah.
Because these are the most polished floors I've ever seen for no reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why NORAD needs like high gloss floors. Little confusing. But you know something, dude? If I'm hanging out at the bottom of the stairs and you tell me, hold up for me? No, absolutely I will not. It's a room of 20 people.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
Last few notes I wrote here. I did write, I know people do the bread to butter their corn thing, but that looked really gross the way that they did it. The way it was filmed really bothered me.
Okay, so Brian actually mentioned. Okay, what was funny is that the bread to butter thing we had mentioned while we were watching that. I think Brian, you said like when you were a kid, y'all tried that.
My dad watched that. Like, oh, we should try that. And
Nice.
you know what? No one's ever done. Tried that. Nah.
It's not even real butter. You don't want to put that on your.
Then again, you don't want to put half a stick of butter on anything.
It was a lot of butter. It was a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Unless it's cookies, I'm not putting a stick of butter in anything
Well,
I'm about to eat.
The bit made me laugh. I'm not going to lie. The bit made me laugh out loud. But let's be honest. How dumb are you that you're holding that corn for like a minute and a half and you can't tell that it's cooked, that it's not cooked? Like
Butter's not going to melt on it.
Yeah,
the butter's not going to melt.
You mean when you pick something up that's supposed to be cooked and it's ice cold and it has
Hard as a
no
rock.
give whatsoever?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But it was a funny bit. It made me laugh, so I didn't really care. But it was dumb. It was just gross. And again, we live in the South. People do that. They take the butter with the bread, but then they eat the bread. He like threw it away like it was a.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Why would you not eat the bread?
Like it's a waste of bread.
Butter.
Yeah, it's just bread and butter, whatever. This also annoyed me again. So sound design in the 80s was kind of bad. I'm just going to be honest. Sound design in the 80s was kind of bad. And so when the dog is running up, we're hearing this dog bark. That dog is clearly not barking.
No.
And I thought, what is happening? But just chalk it up to the 80s. Because I wrote, I don't know why the fake dog noise bothers me, but it does. That's literally my note.
Because
Believe me, when I talk to my therapist, I just chalk most of it up to the 80s.
Yeah.
That's just kind of what we do.
That alarm horn. So when they would get some alerts, like it was like a klaxon alert, it's like when a goal is scored in hockey, right? I wrote that alarm noise would make those working conditions very stressful. Like,
which alarm noises?
I didn't capture any of it, but it's like when in the Enterprise goes red alert, like it's a loud,
Oh, in NORAD?
Yeah, NORAD. My gosh, it's just like this is the most stressful building in the world. Nuclear missiles are coming at you. Let's make it the most stressful environment ever.
If you want to hit the red button at that moment, that's the noise that would make you do it.
Going back to NORAD for a second, I don't know. My military knowledge is very, very lacking. But is it typical to go to DEFCON 2 if 2 Soviet jets are flying in our direction? That seems a little excessive.
If they're bombers, if they're nuclear bombers.
I would think it would be a little bit more than 2 planes would require,
It did.
Get our nukes ready. We got a plane coming.
It did seem dumb that
passengers get the nukes ready.
No, I don't think people realize how often Russia, by the way, has been on our coastal line there, just kind of chilling. You want to know what we haven't gone? To that level. They just haven't.
Well,
because
again,
we don't overreact.
And you got to remember where our coastal line is. I mean, Sarah Palin was an idiot where I can see Russia from my back door.
That was not her that said
whatever.
that. Whatever.
But yes, Alaska and Russia aren't that far. I mean,
You're not going to bomb the U.S. starting in Alaska, for God's sake.
Yeah, no.
Look out Anchorage.
All those big cities in
Canada's
the
gonna
metropolis
get
of
a
it.
little pissed.
Well, I've been up there. It's very lovely, but I wouldn't want it to be nuked. But to the point that we're all making,
we're going to throw our moose out, and you're going to be angry.
those moose are huge, by the way. That would stop a bomber.
Oh,
if you threw a moose at a bomber, it'd break it in half. But like to the point specifically is that like obviously Joshua, the game, the computer, the Whopper, is trying to incite panic and whatever by having these two bombers, but it's a kind of a dumb strategy when it's easily foiled by two F-16 fighters. They're like, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
And then when Joshua's like, oh, well, this isn't going to work, he just makes them disappear and then creates fake information that they have stealth technology that they can project an image, which is like, when that general hears that, I can't like it. It feels like the flow of information to him was just through this one guy, and that doesn't feel real.
But here's the thing. That was the age of the paranoia. And I hate to say it, that was the age of the paranoia where in the 80s, we absolutely would have accepted that of going, no, the Russians would have that kind of technology.
And I completely accept that because I do understand that Cold War era thing. As a coder, I would have gone, yeah, this doesn't seem right. And I would have started to look at the code. And that is one thing that is never, they talk about backdoors. They talk about all this. Like, did anyone look at the code besides the original programmer? And then they gave it to the military. Yeah. So no one else on the planet looked at the code for this, but the original programmer. And then they were able to take his user account out like it was nothing. Yeah. So that was no problem.
Suddenly
they left it in at the beginning. Like, why not do that if it's the military's property now? Why not remove his access the moment you buy it? I don't know.
And then we don't have a movie through line by line. I mean, you're the military. Would you not go line by line through the code and figure out what the hell is in there?
Oh, no, that's not the worst thing. Why wouldn't you have a redundant system in the beginning when you turn around and you have this? No, let's just instill this entire, new system.
No. We can launch missiles. Yeah, we'll just launch them. Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
If the computer decides we need to launch missiles, we just launch them. That's
Let's take
fine.
the shares out because, sorry, nerd irritation.
Everyone got their degree from DeVry. They just kind of, we got it.
Oh. DeVry. So the 80s rant right there, guys.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. All right, last couple notes here that I want to hit before we move on. Let's see. Running away from the chopper, I mentioned that. Let's see. Maybe you announce yourself. I did write this. I thought only the president could move us to DEFCON 1, and I did Google it, and apparently the Joint Chiefs can change the DEFCON as well as the president.
It's not president. Yeah.
I was with you. I thought only the president could do it.
So I mean, because obviously the president can make that choice. Of course, the president can't even declare war. Congress has to do that. But it said the Joint Chiefs. That means all of the everyone in the room. But he was just the
rando dude in the room. Yeah.
Well, no, he was the head of the Joint Chiefs. They made that. He was the.
He just can't do it, though. He can't go.
No, he can't just say it. You're right.
Down to, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't just say move us to DEFCON 2. There needs to be a consensus.
They moved that thing like it was a stock exchange. I mean, it was like every 30 seconds. Like, the move is a 3, not 2, not 4.
Yeah, it felt like a video. It felt like a game show where
it felt like the hokey pokey.
No, it was the guy. It was the guy like selling things. I got a 5. I got a 5, a 4, a 4, a 3, a 1. I got 2,
actually
2, 1, a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, 1, a 5, a 5. We're DEFCON 5.
That was amazing.
You're welcome.
The sign itself, the numbering sign, which of course was upside down, but
Yeah.
it reminded me. I don't know if you remember this. We probably do. So when I was in growing up, we would visit. There was a restaurant called Shoney's here. I don't know if you had them where you live.
Limited time. Yeah.
Shoney's is kind of like a Golden Corral before Golden Corral became a thing. And
We have more Golden Corral out here than Shoney's.
yeah, I don't think Shoney's is a thing anymore. If you live somewhere where you have one, good luck to you, I guess.
That's
I don't know.
good. Yeah.
But
That's
I remember.
like a Blockbuster. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But I remember going to Shoney's, and I remember they would like if you wanted a specialty item like a steak or something grilled, very specific for just you. You would go up and they would give you a number, and they had a light board that looked just like that, but it went down to like 30. But it was colored like that, and I remember, the light would just bling up, and it was your responsibility to see the number and then walk up with your ticket and get your whatever. And for whatever, like that, when I saw it in this movie, this powerful memory just hit me like, oh my gosh, I'm in Shoney's. But as a kid, I loved it. Now I wouldn't step foot in one. But anyway,
Because botulism.
Well, I don't know. They look dirty. They all just look gross. It's like Food Lion. I've never been except for one. I've never been in a clean Food Lion.
How much insurance do I have for this meal?
Yeah,
I don't think I ever went into a Shoney's where someone didn't spill syrup all over the place and it was just sticky the whole time.
Exactly. All right, time for some clips. Do you have anything else before I play clips?
Nope.
Okay, good.
No.
I'm sure some of these
We
will
vented our spleen.
Well, I'm sure these will spark some fun conversation. For example, the intro that I played, I have heard before. I've never seen this movie before, but when that part happened in the movie, I thought, I've heard this from somewhere. I don't know where, but I've heard it before. But I knew exactly what was happening. It was very weird. All right, so we've mentioned it before, 80s noises. This is just, I was going to play, capture some more, but it was just I think it might induce seizures in our listeners. So here's 4 seconds of what the NORAD control room sounded like.
Hal?
Just good God. Yeah. Oh, God.
So, Hal. That's the first thing I thought of was
if it's actually
2001.
Hal, I'm insanely impressed.
Yeah, well, he says it's supposed to be the NORAD, but the first thing I did think of was Hal.
Yeah, again, the 80s, for some reason, text on screen had to make noise. Everything made a noise.
No, nothing made noise back
Lights
then.
changing made noises.
Even the elevator button he hits makes a noise. Like, I've never heard when you hit the button, it might, when the elevator comes, it'll make a ding to let you know that it's there in case you're visually impaired. But it was like he hit the button and went boop. I'm like, how would it do that? Anyway, whatever. If you say the name of your movie in your movie, I will capture it.
Plays an endless series of war games using all available information on the state of the world.
There you go.
Roll credits.
Yeah, and
War games. Up, done. Thank you.
and make sure that the guy who was describing it is the nerdiest looking guy in the movie.
No.
Oh, no. The nerdy.
I know.
Sheldon.
No, he is not.
Yeah, the
There's
Sheldon.
a Sheldon in this movie.
Jerry Lewis, dude.
Yeah, which is funny because he only has 2 lines or maybe 4 lines in the whole movie. But when his first words came out of his mouth, I paused the movie and I grabbed my wife. Usually she and I watched this together, but because I had to watch this on Pluto TV on my computer, she didn't get the pleasure of watching this with me. And I said, "Listen to this guy," and she immediately was like, "Oh my gosh, that's the kid from the Polar Express cartoon movie." Who was like this know-it-all kid. They made that kid look just like that dude, just as a kid. So if you go watch...
That was Jerry Lewis. And
It
was 100% Jerry Lewis.
Yeah. They don't know who Jerry Lewis is, man. They don't know who
I know who Jerry Lewis is.
We know who that is.
Go out and get out of here. We're not that young or naive.
But it just was. The moment, even as a kid, he was meant to be Jerry Lewis in order to be the what the heck? It wasn't the Nutty Professor. Was it the Nutty Professor?
No, probably the Nutty Professor.
It was
yeah.
a Nutty Professor. So that was kind of the direction that they were going in this movie of going, by the way, Jerry Lewis, Nutty Professor. Hey, War Games, kids. And your parents will recognize this.
And then he also was the reason that 1986's Revenge of the Nerds came out.
Oh, God, yeah.
His real name is Eddie Deason.
Has he done anything?
Just porn.
Oh my gosh!
Just pure porn.
So
he was all about
raw dog and porn.
He did a lot of nasty stuff after this.
Yeah. So he did SpongeBob the movie.
And all he kept saying is, "It's all about the back door." Oh, it's all about the back door.
He changed his name to Eddie D's Nuts.
Yeah.
Just.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna stop talking now.
Okay.
He did some
check out right after the back door.
He did let's see, he did the Polar Express movie, he did Kim Possible movie, he did some Scooby-Doo stuff.
The cartoon?
Cartoon. He did an episode of Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Laboratory. He did Cow and Chicken. He was on the Weird Al show a bunch. He did Spy Hard. That's a fun Leslie Nielsen movie. We mentioned that last week. Something called Teenage Exorcist. That seems kind of fun.
That was the porno he was talking about.
Yeah. Oh, he was in Rockadoodle. Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Rocket. All right.
Rockadoodle. Yeah, you know that. It's the Chanticleer, the singing chicken. He was in Grease too.
Nobody remembers Grease too.
Dude, I remember Grease too.
He does.
Permanently
Michelle
remove that from my
Pfeiffer?
brain.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
No.
She was the
Nope.
the chicken. Y'all.
She was the chick.
Yeah, she's Stephanie.
She was the
Yeah,
main one.
She's the main girl.
She would be. Michelle Pfeiffer. What else would she be?
Sorry.
Christopher McDonald is in that too. Look at that. I don't know anybody. Oh, yeah. Eddie Deaton actually is in the top billing on that, so good for him. Anyway, he's done a bunch of stuff. Porn, I don't know, but at least he did those other things.
I'm going to just throw this out there. If at any point in time that man is the main title, like the main actor in that movie, you probably want to avoid it just for rental purposes.
Do well.
Yeah.
You just want
It
to,
went straight
it's
to
not going to be
video.
a great film. I'll even say with his buddy with the, that he was talking to in the library, probably if he is the main character in any story, you probably want to avoid that movie too.
I did like how they pulled up the trope where like she walks in, he goes like, "Why don't you stay over here?" And she's like, "Why?" He goes, "These guys get nervous." And it's like, I was expecting them to look over her and go, "Dude, you have a girl here," like
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Not wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
They didn't even get that far.
They didn't really
don't
do
even
it, but
know
they
what
kept
girls
looking at her
are.
and they kept giving her like showing her like these like reaction shots of her looking all kind of smiley and pretty and whatnot.
All right, can I ask, are either of you guys Nightmare on Elm Street fans?
Never seen a single one of them.
No.
I've only seen parts.
Okay.
What?
Then I have.
Which parts of what movie?
The original.
All right.
And and the reason I've only seen parts is because when I was very young, we had a babysitter that loved horror movies, and when my parents weren't with us and we were being babysat, she would watch these things. And like I saw Leprechaun as an 8-year-old.
Oh my God.
That didn't mess with me at all.
Yeah,
Oh
it's such a bad movie.
That
On
is
top of
such a
it,
bad
it's
movie.
like
Well, even then, I was like, "This is not that scary." It's
a
just
bad horror movie. On top of it, yeah.
but Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, well, you got that. So,
Yeah.
We have the movie poster that we put on our wall.
then I have no question to ask. So you can cut all this part out because you guys saw nothing.
I wasn't a fan of. I didn't watch that stuff when I was growing up. I just didn't care for it. I thought life was scary enough. Why do I want to watch something scary?
Yeah. The point of it was because the Ali Sheedy character ended up looking way like the main character of Nightmare on Elm Street, like
Shit.
a year
Nancy.
later, and it's completely a different person. but it's Heather Langenkamp. But you know,
our supposition was that
very similar.
Our supposition was that because they saw War Games, they had a Nightmare on Elm Street a couple of years later, and thinking we kind of want this look. If you
we
will.
want the Ellie Sheedy, but we can't afford her.
Yeah. So therefore, we have this look. But if you actually kind of put them next to each other, you'd be like, yeah, I can see that. But Ellie Sheedy had moved on. She was part of the Brat Pack by that time, and she's like, nah, I'm not doing a cheesy horror film.
Sure.
And
I'll do it. Cheesy other movies.
She's doing that. Now she's making appearances in Psych and stuff like that. Which this movie had like 4 Psych connections, which I think is great. It's one of my favorite shows. Okay. I had to capture this because, I had to.
Shall we play a game?
There you go.
My favorite line.
Yeah.
I actually say that out loud in the house way more often than I should.
Sure.
It's like the catchphrase of the movie.
Well, it is. And I I knew that long before. I haven't seen this movie, but I knew that phrase was from this movie. And there's kind of a funny joke to it in Captain America 2 when they go into the old basement and she starts typing on the old computer and she says, "Shall we play a game?" And she says, "It's from War Games." And Captain America says, "Yeah, I saw it." And of course I'm thinking, wait, your book includes movies of Star Trek and Star Wars, but you watched War Games first? Anyway. I missed this clip. This one's funny. This is 15 seconds and this just made me laugh.
This corn is raw.
I know, isn't it wonderful? It's so crisp.
Of course it's crisp. It's raw.
No, it's terrific. You can just taste the vitamin A and D in here. It's great.
Could we have
10 words to
pills and
describe my
corn?
sex life.
So one of the other reasons why I captured the clip, because when I went back to get it, because I love just the fact that he's complaining that the corn is raw, which has nothing to do with the movie other than just to be again, is this movie supposed to be serious or not? This part says not. But his dialogue is very much being recorded in the room. You can hear his sound bouncing off the table in the room. You can tell that's live. Hers is very recorded after. So maybe when they put the camera on her, the boom guy fell asleep. I don't know. But her audio is dubbed 100%, and it sounds like he's talking to a commercial, which is funny. So listen again, just real quick. This
corn is raw.
I know, isn't it wonderful?
That's 2 different places, right? And then I had to capture this out, so I now have this for forever.
So
I'm sorry, I love that. Oh, that just cracks me up.
If you think about, have you ever watched Better Off Dead?
No,
I think I've seen that. Yeah,
I feel like every time you ask, "Have you seen?" and I say no, I'm just disappointing you both.
Better Off Dead, she kind of reminded me of the mom at that moment, of which when you watch the movie, the lady, the mother who cooks, we'll say that in quotations, she kind of has things that crawl off the plate. So when she goes, "Well, don't you just love this?" It reminded me hardcore of an 80s, the absentee mom, Better Off Dead, kind of a mom of going, "No, we just do things now and we just not cook things."
Yeah.
Again, watch Better Off Dead. Bizarre, very 80s movie.
So is Andrew also an audio guy from back in the day? I know you were a boom guy.
Andrew, no. Yes.
No.
Because, you guys are talking about ADR, and, I can understand Sean, because I know Sean was like the boom mic operator back in the day. But, yeah, you're right. That scene was completely ADR.
Yeah. Well, her part. Yeah. Yeah. The dad was fine. It just, again, because I watched this movie on my headphones, because normally I'm watching it on my TV. So maybe on the TV I wouldn't have caught it, probably would have still. But because I had it on my headphones, I hear everything. And so when she starts talking, she is in a studio. It's not even close. It felt like either have him in the studio with her, or capture her audio. I guess maybe there was
or at least equalize it where it sounds. Yeah. At least try.
Yeah, maybe they didn't have the technology to do it for this low budget of a film. This was a low budget movie. This was a 9.
We can make us sound like we are right next to each other and we're 500 miles away, and not 5,000. I don't even know at this point.
We've watched movies recently. I mean, I remember very specifically when we did. I was an American Assassin, and Michael Keaton is talking. He's outside in a rain on a porch, and it's 100% in a studio. You can tell.
Yeah,
and it's jarring. So at least it is to me. But again, I pick up on those things. This was a weird line, and I captured it.
Sergeant, I hope you like vodka.
Yes, sir. I just hope they don't make me eat none of them damn fish eggs.
Damn fish eggs.
I love that line, by the way. It made me laugh the first time when I heard it because, vodka caviar. Who doesn't want that?
Apparently not that guy who I want my freedom. I want my burger. I don't want no fish eggs.
I want vodka and caviar. Just let them over.
It annoyed me that, again, here's an adult in a room that's full of supposed to be some of the smartest people in the world, and he can't use the word caviar.
Yeah.
I don't.
Because we have to be redneck. Damn it.
Speaking of no caviar when there's fish eggs.
Vodka
you want the fish eggs, not the caviar.
Speaking of redneck.
Yeah, we're here. Jesus H. Christ, we're still here.
String impact.
I mean, is that like, who was it? Not, was that Barney from, come on, help me out. Barney from
Don Knotts.
Don Knotts. It sounds like damn Don Knotts.
Yeah, Barney Fife from maybe,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. This also both made me laugh and annoyed at the same time.
Mr. McKittrick, after very careful consideration, sir, I've come to the conclusion that your new defense system sucks.
I don't have to take that, you pig-eyed sack of shit.
No, I was hoping for something a little better than that from you, sir, a man of your education.
General.
So I laughed because he says that, it reminded me of Jurassic Park. I've decided not to endorse your park. And he's like, yeah. But like, he gets all defensive. He's like, I don't have to take that from you. Your machine is trying to start World War III. Yeah. You don't have the right to be offended right now.
You've lost a little ground here, buddy. They're trying to kill us. So
you forget
chill the f*** out.
Forget the ego of man. Men have an ego from here to next week. He's still in the back of his mind. He think it's gonna work.
Yeah, I guess.
Like,
all right, time for
an idiot. But dude, you ever watch the Chicago Bears play? In the coach's mind, the ego always happens. They always think it's gonna work. It never does. Well, and that's why we're 4-12 or whatever the fuck we are every season.
Honey, they haven't started playing yet.
I watched the last 3 years. Shut up.
Yeah, you got a new quarterback. You'll be fine. All right, here's the last clip I got.
Damn it, I'd piss on a spark plug if I thought it'd do any good. Let the boy in there, Major.
I love that. I laughed so hard when he played that.
If I thought World War III was coming, come on, raise your hand who would not piss on the damn spark plug.
That's right.
If I could aim and shoot, I'd piss on all of that.
That's right. All right, I'm gonna read this as fast as humanly possible because this episode is long. Here we go.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Come on, Andrew. I left it hanging for you.
Oh, sorry. That's what she said.
Yeah, there you go. According to John Badham, or Badham, that's the director, the Jeep trying to crash through the gate at NORAD and turning over was an actual accident. The Jeep was supposed to continue through the gate. They added the scene of the characters running from the Jeep and down the road and used the botched Jeep stunt.
So it was an accident.
Yeah, it was a legit accident.
Okay, so it was a legit accident, but they still had people run from a non-accident? I guess I'm trying to mentally picture it in my mind.
Well, the idea is like the stunt drivers crashed the Jeep by accident, and so then they had the actual actors run away from the thing so they can run into the tunnel of love. Okay. The NORAD Command Center built for the movie cost $1 million, making it the most expensive set ever constructed.
And I say that.
It's all door. It's all door.
I literally told Brian, I'm like, they spent their entire budget on that effing door.
Yeah.
Right there.
The producers were not allowed into the actual NORAD command center, so they had to imagine what it would look like. In the DVD commentary, the director notes that the actual NORAD command center isn't nearly as elaborate as the one in the movie, calling the set, quote, NORAD's wet dream of itself, quote.
Yeah. No, why would you have that? Why would you? Okay, so I don't know if you ever watch any of the landings on Mars or anything else, but they actually kind of pipe into a little bit of NASA there, and it is really kind of downplayed. It's computers and people, but nothing like that set up in Wargames.
Sure. Well, I also I read somewhere, heard, listened, read, saw. Basically, I don't remember, but I do know that a lot of the systems that we use today for our nuclear missile systems are still very, very old because there's no way to hack it. You can't hack a dead language. And
is there a stack of cards that have ones and zeros?
Sure, I don't know.
They're punch cards.
You knock them off, you just slap them down, and you got to put them back together. It's all messed up.
So I mentioned this.
That's not hackable though.
Yeah.
It's because that
you can't pick it up. There's card number 17 is.
It's because
it's floating away to Tijuana right now.
There's no budget.
No,
in order to upgrade anything we have.
No budget. I think for the military, we've got budget for it. We spend more on our defense budget than the next 17 countries combined. There's a budget for it. So I mentioned, I don't think I mentioned, I teased it 3 hours ago when we started this show that that this movie reminded me of another movie, and that this movie kind of reminded me of Sneakers, and that the technology is there to just. A little bit of, again, communist scare, but also the technology's there. We don't get talked down to. They just use the technology. Lawrence Lasker and Walter F. Parks made friends. They were writers on this movie. I should explain that. They were friends with many hackers and security experts while doing research for the film. They later wrote Sneakers, another film featuring hackers and security experts. David makes a joke directed at his teacher about asexual reproduction. Director John Badham said that some of the crew didn't know the punchline was coming and laughed out loud, and it was left in the soundtrack. The classroom response is clearly adults laughing out loud.
I would have laughed too.
Yeah.
That's a funny line. Matter of fact, I probably wouldn't have kicked the kid out of my class. I'm just saying.
No. Yeah, I mean, that's also a trope from the 80s, right? We're going to ridicule the kid and show everybody that you got an F.
If you are a teacher and you talk about asexual, anything, and you can't take a joke coming from a kid in the class, you're not a real teacher.
Yeah.
You're just not. They have thrown everything at you at this point, like physically, mentally. They've thrown everything at you.
Find a nickel.
If I mention the G string on the string bass, I just expect laughter.
Keep going. Keep going.
You have to expect that. So I actually told Brian, what is this? His first year? I mean, honest to God, you can't. You look at the kid going, okay, well played. You're a dick, but well played to you. And you move on with your lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Time for this.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
We're going to do our top three. Here we go. I will. Do you guys? You said you have some, so I'll let you two go first. Whether it's you're together or separately, whatever. Sorry. What's the category? Our category.
The top three are
almost world destruction. This movie basically almost destroys itself, and so we're going to do that. If you need a moment, I can go first.
Go first.
I will go first. My number 3 is The Sum of All Fears, the Jack Ryan, Ben Affleck movie where it's kind of the same thing. Russia and America are about to destroy each other. So with Ben Affleck there to stop them. My number 2 is Armageddon, where Bruce Willis punches an asteroid to death and saves the day. And my number 1, this actually works. I don't always get a chance to make a Star Trek thing work, but Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, where they save the Earth because of whales and things. It works.
Yeah, That's a bad one.
But I love that movie.
It's a good movie. It's not one of the bad ones.
That'd
It's
be
a neat
way
movie.
leave. Come on.
It's a good one. But also, we did have a legit Star Trek connection in the movie. The old crazy general man was in a Star Trek movie. It's a fan made film, but it's technically a Star Trek movie, so therefore it counts.
It's canon.
Technically not canon, but it does count. So there you go. Yes. You guys ready?
Are we doing it together?
If you want to.
No, you tell. I think you tell. This is a relationship we're in.
All right. Well, I got a couple. I got a couple. All right. I'm going to go with The Big Short.
Okay.
I know that is a weird one to go with, but The Big Short, you watch the movie, you watch the entire 2008 collapse, you saw how bad it could be, and somehow it never happened. So it's
killed my career. So whatever.
All right. I also with Independence Day.
No. It did actually destroy the fucking.
Will Smith disagrees.
I love Will Smith.
Maybe I don't understand the whole thing, but Will Smith disagrees.
Almost destroys.
I will not go quietly into the night.
The world is saved at the end. All the ships crash down. There's a second movie. It's supposed to be a third.
You just do that, baby.
I gave my 2. I get The Big Short.
But there are 3.
Dude, you said you would help out.
I was like mouthing you.
You are the
ideas.
worst ever. You are the worst ever.
Right? That's why we're
helping
together,
out. And my third is.
I would say iRobot. I'm sorry. iRobot. Everyone.
That's a good one.
I don't even say iRobot. All right.
You could actually say that they were.
I know the song by John Bellion. Does that help?
That's not a song.
It is a song, but yeah.
We're going to have to work on our moves here. iRobot, the robots were supposed to take over the planet.
Is that with Haley Joel?
Yes.
No, that's AI. iRobot's with Will Smith.
The hell, dude. But they were supposed to take over the planet, and they did. I would have gone Lord of the Rings, which
you do it. Do it up.
Yeah,
she's taking over.
The entire destruction of the Middle Earth was supposed to happen, and it didn't. And you could have gone Hunger Games, of which the destruction of everything was supposed to happen. Well, not the destruction of everything, but bad things were going to happen. But I don't
think the end outcome for anybody was to kill everything. I just think that anyway.
Well, I mean, the culling eventually. It was supposed to end society, and it was supposed to end society. I guess.
Was it? I thought it was just a way to control people. I thought it was just a dystopian future. I never thought of
wouldn't
it.
any Terminator movie count?
Yeah.
Which one?
Any
Terminator movie. Mm-hmm. Any of the Terminators.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, well,
Genesis,
that's always trying to avoid something.
There's no 4. There's 1, 2, 3.
Aliens,
Genesis.
Actually. Aliens is always they
don't go to Earth. They're never at Earth.
Killed the world.
They always trying to avoid.
There's no apocalypse there, but
until the end.
Every Terminator, there is an apocalypse at the end. Yeah. Every single one. So I pick 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
There you go. I won.
Mic drop.
Oh
Damn
my goodness.
It.
What you got, Andrew? We have 0 on the social media. Well, we have none on Twitter. Yeah.
I've got as an honorable mention, I have Broken Arrow because it wasn't really destruction of the whole world, but it was a nuke.
All right.
And I like that movie. But number 3, number 3, I have Mars Attacks.
Oh, sure.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 2, Spies Like Us, which is like right there with Stripes as far as the time frame.
Yeah.
With Dan Aykroyd. That's a good one. And number 1, I have Deep Impact.
Yeah, sure. The counterpart to Armageddon.
I was going to say there were a couple of the Space Cowboys.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, there were a few of them like that at that time.
I'm
Old
gonna
dudes
go.
trying to avoid destruction.
Spies Like Us is fantastic.
It's amazing. I love that movie.
What's a dick for? To pee with.
You're an idiot.
Okay. Time for this.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
All right there, dead Daniel Radcliffe. What's supposed to happen is we give this movie a score out of 10, and I will let Andrew go first.
IMDb puts this at a 7.1. I am going to probably drop it down a little bit lower than that. It's not something that I'm going to enjoy watching multiple times, but it's not a bad film. A little dated and a few things that bother me, but overall it's okay. So I'm going to give this a 6.4 out of 10.
Okay. We embrace the decimal point because when you've been reviewing 355 movies, you got to find a way to make them all a little different. So you two, if you want to give me a combined score or individual scores, I don't care what you want to do.
Oh no, you're doing your individual.
Oh, I'll do an individual.
No way.
All right.
That's crazy.
We don't combine nothing. You do your own.
Okay.
As much as I have enjoyed Andrew's conversation and Andrew's discussion, he went with what's a boop for, and I'm going to go with an 8.2.
Get the out. Really?
No swearing. No swearing.
Really? You're going to say that?
That's a pussy ass score, bitch. How's that for swearing? The f is wrong with you? How are you an 80s human ever?
We stop. We stop bringing her to parties. We don't even bring her anywhere anymore.
No.
She's not allowed around anyone anymore. We just put her in the dungeon again.
It's a 9.2.
Just go back. Just go back to the crawl space. Shut up.
I know, right? No, this is a 9.2. You have to accept the fact this is 80s, kind of we're afraid of everything, but we had technology and teenagers could save the world. 9.2.
I have to say this is hilarious. So we're like, if you were to listen to this episode until this moment, I would have bet your score would have been a 5 because you said almost nothing positive about this movie, and then you drop it to 9.2 because it's amazing.
Every review she does,
she
rips on it for an hour straight, and then like, no, it's great. It's an A. I mean, no, everyone should watch it.
Yeah.
Here's a quick list of why you should watch it. Like, dude, didn't you just rip on this movie for an hour straight? All right.
But in the end, I rip on it because I love it, which is why I'm with you, sweetheart. but in the end, I mean, it's a beautiful movie.
I think my woman loves me because I look good. That's the only reason that she likes me. And,
oh, you're pretty.
Yeah. Anyway, I give myself a 6.4 on a 12 scale.
You heard 2.4, but anyway, but this is a really watch this movie. The reason why I scored about a 9-ish is because people should watch the movie. It's kind of awesome.
God, this is the most amazing thing I could see on this planet. And I hope he keeps this in. The look on Sean's face right now is like, I am never having these freaking people on my show again. I mean, never.
I mean, we're not going to be able to have an episode next week because this one will have, taken up too much space.
More days.
Yeah,
this is going to be a 2-parter.
He's thinking in his mind like, I should not have had them on. B, I can't edit all this. C, I don't even know what Andrew's doing right now. We had a normal
we had a life before
of our
this,
show.
But,
right now they've taken over, and it's just a weird show altogether.
Hey. It's my fucking rating. Back off, bitch.
Language. No swearing.
Anyway, my score is an 8.1. Okay, so moving on. Holy balls. Okay. I got to end this thing because this is getting out of hand. Well, getting is the wrong word.
Yeah, we broke them.
Yeah, no, this is the last episode of Cheap Seat Reviews, ladies and gentlemen. The last thing I'm going to say is we do a game at the end of each episode where I read a quote from the giant movie poster over there. The quote is, "I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way." There you go. So those of you playing at home, hopefully you know it. If you don't, Google it. It's great. It's a good movie. All right. We are Cheap Seat Reviews. You can find us at cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com. Please tell the fine folks that are listening to this show, if they're still listening at all, where they can find your guys' show.
We're on episode 167 of movie reviews that sometimes we actually do something. Sometimes we don't. I don't know. We hardly ever talk about the movie. We're not at all structured like these guys at all. If you like the fact that we interrupt each other and talk over each other and we really just
and ramble, wrap it up there.
Then yeah, listen to us. Thanks for helping, Dick. Just like this. This is our entire show. That's our intro and our promo.
Okay, thanks. All right, we're cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com is our website. Again, I will put the actual links to their stuff in our show notes. Facebook.com/cheapseatreviews as at cheapseatcast is our Twitter, and cheapseatreviews@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. But why would you? Okay. That's it. I'm ending the show. I'm pulling the plug. That's it. Thank you guys so much. This was a blast. My face hurts from laughing.
Thanks, guys. That was actually a lot of fun.
That's our show. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
This is Cheap Seat Reviews.